Come join me for a 4-day trip to Hanoi. We went to grab some pho after we got settled. I wanted to eat as much pho and banh mi as humanly possible on this trip. This pho is very unique. From what I can tell, they stir-fried the beef and vegetable before cooking it with the noodles and the soup. That gives it a very charcoaly and distinctive flavor. After pho, we went to the MÄT Vietnamese restaurant for dinner because the pho was just an appetizer. This is a chain with multiple locations in the Hanoi Old Town area, and as you can see, it is super popular among tourists. We got the fried spring rolls and stir-fried veggies to begin with. We also got an order of the special Vietnamese pancake, which are supposed to wrap with veggies and rice paper. The Vietnamese pancake was highly rated, and I can attest this is amazing. I definitely wish I had ordered more. Lastly, we got the bún ca and the pork and bamboo roll. Bún ca is a northern Vietnamese dish, and more on that later. I'd say you can probably skip the pork and bamboo roll, it was very mediocre. Next morning, I tried the pho from the hotel restaurant, and to be honest, it was meh and a waste of stomach space. Then we trekked to 2 banh mi spots that I found, the first of which is Banh Mi 25. As you can see, this spot is super popular among tourists. This was not even 8 a.m. and there was already a long line of tourists. After you get your banh mi, you can go eat in the shop across the street. Next, I went to a lesser known spot around the corner, Banh Mi Pate. Here you can see a bunch of locals eating in front of the restaurant. You can even see from the window the lady assembling the banh mi. So we bought these banh mi on the road with us to Bai Tu Long Bay. What you're seeing here is the barbecue pork banh mi with pate from Banh Mi 25. There is so much filling. And can you believe all this for only $1.20? Between the two, I enjoy the filling for Banh Mi 25 more, but I thought the bread for Banh Mi pate is better because it's crunchier. If I had to pick one, I'd probably pick Banh Mi pate. I mean, their filling was also solid. After almost 4 hours on the road, we finally arrived at Ha Long Harbor for our afternoon cruise of Bai Tu Long Bay. Bai Tu Long Bay is like the lesser-known cousin of Ha Long Bay. The views are very similar, but there are a lot less boats that tour this area. I mean, you'll see for yourself in a second. There are still a lot of good options if you decide to tour this area. In addition to day tours that depart from Hanoi, there are also overnight tours that ranges from 1 to 3 nights. But note, the price is a little bit steeper compared to Ha Long Bay. We opted for the Muse cruise afternoon boat tour by Indochina Junk. Did you know, in this instance, junk doesn't mean trash, but a type of boat used historically in this region? After setting sail for about 30 minutes, you can see this beautiful view. I was surprised by how close these islands were to the shore. Our package included lunch and a variety of activities. They started serving lunch almost immediately after we boarded. For lunch, there were at least 6 dishes. I think my favorite was the fish by far. The other dishes were also good, but not very unique. One thing to note from the marketing materials, I thought it was going to be a buffet, but it was actually a prefix menu. There are also vegetarian options to choose. Drinks are not included. After lunch, we stopped by an island for a hike. The hike was pretty easy, probably 10 minutes max. At the top, we were awarded with a gorgeous panoramic view of the bay. This was probably my favorite spot on this tour. I even made an iPhone wallpaper out of this view. In addition, there was also a cave at the top, which you can explore. There are various caves in this area. I decided to pass mainly because I wasn't wearing the right shoes, so make sure you do. Next was kayaking. Each person was paired up and we followed the tour guide's lead around the island. It can be a bit intimidating if you've never done it before, but my mom, who's never kayaked before, had a lot of fun. After kayaking, we circled around the bay a bit more and then headed back to shore. To be honest, I thought this was the perfect amount of time. The scenery is beautiful, but it doesn't really change very much. This whole tour, including the transportation from Hanoi, costs about $100 per person. It is definitely an experience I would recommend. For dinner, we went to Vua Cha Ca. They're located in the plaza near the Sword Lake. The restaurant was packed when we got there around 8:30. We ordered the cha ca with fish fillet and fish stomach. They cooked the dish right in front of you. I was surprised by how much fennel they put in, but it really gives it a very nice aroma. The stomach was interesting. It's kind of crunchy, but not sure how I felt about it in the end. We also got the soup. I believe this was made from the same fish as the chaka. To end it, we got the porridge. The porridge may look kind of boring, but it was delicious. There's so much flavor to it. My uncle said this was probably his favorite dish this whole trip. Another day, another bowl of pho. When I got to the restaurant, it was already packed with locals sitting outside. That must be a good sign, right? I got the pho with both cooked and uncooked beef. And well, the locals definitely know their pho. Although I was pretty full, I decided to stop by another pho restaurant. I passed by this spot on my way to the earlier pho restaurant and it was packed with locals, so I thought why not give it a try. I ordered a bowl of pho, but maybe I was too full, but I thought it was kind of bland. Afterwards, we went to St. Joseph Church. The church resembles in Notre Dame in Paris. Did you know Vietnam was a French colony for more than a century? To this day, you can still see a lot of French influence, such as the banh mi, which is really similar to a baguette. We passed by a fried food stall and I got some fried shrimp cakes. It was delicious. Okay, and on to my third pho restaurant of the day, Pho 10. This is probably one of the most famous pho restaurants in the city because it is Michelin recommended. I also saw a lot of negative reviews online, but I thought since I was in the area, why not try for myself? There was quite a long wait. Ultimately, we got a seat. I thought the broth was good, but there was not enough meat. So I'd say give it a try if you're in the area, but I wouldn't go out of my way. In the afternoon, we went to Sword Lake to see the temple that is in the middle of the lake. Unfortunately, we forgot our cash at the hotel and this place happens to be cash only, so we had to go find an ATM before the sun sets. We got a bit sidetracked and instead ended up at an ice cream shop. This place is very popular, but be careful, there are many doppelgangers that look very similar in the area. Make sure you follow Google Maps to the right one. The store was a bit confusing since there were multiple lines and it wasn't exactly clear to me what each one is for. Ultimately, I managed to get in one line that sold ice cream cones. It was so good for such a hot day. It turns out forgetting our cash at the hotel was a blessing because when we got back, it happened to be sunset and the reflection on the lake was just beautiful. As you can see, there were a lot of people on the bridge taking photos. Once you get past the bridge, you'll get to the temple. For dinner, we decided to go grab some seafood near the beer street. After all, Hanoi is not too far from the large body of water. We decided to stop by the seafood stall located at the end of the street. They had a wide variety ranging from clams to shrimp to crabs. You can even see the lady cooking right there. This place really felt very intimate, and as you can see, everyone just kind of sat out there on these small tables on the street. We decided to try a little bit of everything, and we started off with some shrimps. We also got some razor clam, and in the soup over there was more clams. We also got some oysters, which was probably my favorite, and I think these were some type of shrimp, and I think sea snails. Sadly, it was our last day, and unknowingly, this turned out to be my last bowl of pho in Hanoi. We passed by this restaurant on our first day on the way to exchange some cash. As a pro tip, you can go to the Gold Street, and there you'll find exchange rates that are much better than the airport. After pho, I went to a banh mi spot I randomly found on Google. The guy in front of me brought like 20 banh mi's, and I thought that was a good sign. And guess what? This place was awesome. I can definitely understood why the guy got 20 of them. After breakfast, we strolled to the Temple of Literature. This place was packed. Temple Literature is the first university of Vietnam. It's made up of 5 different courtyards. Not only were there a lot of tourists, but there were also a lot of local students here taking their graduation photos. Definitely come early. Afterwards, we went to the one-pillar pagoda. Apparently, this used to be part of a Buddhist temple, but now is one of Hanoi's most popular tourist attractions. It is located near the Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum. You are allowed to go in and visit. There are a few attractions adjacent to this area. We went to the Ho Chi Minh Museum instead. Note your clothes need to cover your knees. Also next door is the Presidential Palace, which is the official residence of the President of Vietnam. Avoid the taxis outside the tourist destination, get the Grab app instead. Our ride cost us 5 times more than it should have. For lunch, we went to a bunka restaurant. Bunka originated from Hanoi and it consists of grilled pork, noodles, and herbs, and it comes with a side of dipping sauce. There were 2 Bunka restaurants right next to our hotel, including one that is Michelin recommended. As you can see, that one had a really long line. My parents were exhausted from the morning sightseeing and didn't want to wait, so we opted for the other one. This one is a chain with multiple locations in Hanoi. We each got our own portion. It was great and we just devoured it. After lunch, we found ourselves back at St. Joseph Cathedral. We went to a spa near there. The value was just incredible. $25 USD gets you 2 hours of massage per person. What a great deal. After the massage, guess what? It's time to eat again. We stopped by Bon My Mama. There were over 1,000 reviews on Google, and at 5 o'clock there was already a decent line. Was it good? Yes. Worth the wait? Probably not. I think there are just so many good banh mi spots in Hanoi, and what I found interesting is they use the panini press. During our trip, we noticed many cafes had seats outside that were filled with people overlooking the busy streets, so we thought we'd give it a try. We ordered some desserts as we watched the streets. We got the chai, which is a sweet Vietnamese soup. You mix it with ice and it was heavenly after a hot day. For our last meal in Hanoi, we went to Hanoi Garden. I usually don't care too much about ambiance or decor, but I was so drawn in by the courtyard. Maybe it's because it's so different from the hustling and bustling streets of Hanoi. Luckily, the food did not disappoint. We got the soft-shell crab, beef cubes, morning glory, vermicelli with crab, and roast duck. All of them were made super well. My parents said this was probably their favorite restaurant this trip. Regrettably, I didn't get to try the egg coffee or visit Train Street, but like I said, always leave some regrets so there's a reason to go back. Thank you for watching and don't forget to subscribe!